And we're live. Hello, good people, good people, good people. Welcome back again to the Fading Embers podcast presented by the Empty Wonderland Collective. My name is Julian Benn. Today I'm joined by two extra special guests. My very, very, very good friend, Timofey Lychik, out there hailing from, you're out in Tacoma, Washington, right?
That's right.
And my actual younger brother, Julian Benn.
What's going on?
So these two guys like Star Wars, like myself. We're Star Wars fans. And if you haven't guessed, today's topic will be about Star Wars. So, but before I jump into that, Empty Wonderland Collective, we just believe in talking about stuff that we like to talk about as friends and family. The collective is Christian, so largely the episodes are going to come from a Christian worldview perspective as we chop up whatever it is that we're talking about, whether it's books, movies, our professions, various things that we're working on for our day-to-day lives. But we talk about it all, but we want to be able to tell the narrative clearly and loudly, and for you to be able to walk away with something to think about from the end of it. You can follow Empty Wonderland Collective on Tumblr at Empty Wonderland Collective. It's also on Facebook as Empty Wonderland Collective. And then on Twitter, it's at Empty Wonderland. And we're also just on Instagram as well as Empty Wonderland Collective. So definitely check us out, follow us, subscribe, hit the little bell so that you can be notified whenever new episodes come out. There's going to be new episodes every Wednesday. So we're trying to put those out. We've got a great season 2 here planned. We thank you guys for contributing. In the interest of time, because Trevor told me that for season 2, he really wanted us to do better about time instead of just talking for an hour and a half and getting lost and everything like that. We are trying to stay on time today. And so I've got our timer ready to go. And all we're going to do is we're going to try to talk about what we came to talk about and go about our lives because we're all busy adults. So we're just going to jump right into it. I think we're going to start with Tim. Plot thoughts. Overall plot thoughts for Star Wars 8, The Last Jedi.
Don't really have any major talking points for the plot for this movie, just because it continues the story arcs that were started back in the Force Awakens. I think they did a good job of continuing to spread those out, and everybody's story is being developed. Particularly like the way what they're doing with Rey and her story. She's coming a lot into her own, which I appreciate. I think if you want to compare to the original trilogy, Luke by the second movie is still very much conflicted about what he's supposed to do. He even has to go back and revisit Yoda in the Jedi in the last, or the tripping. But I think Rey's, the little what do you call that? The Easter egg they put in there with the books being on the Millennium Falcon. I think she's kind of picked her trajectory, and I think that's the way she's going to go. So that was my takeaway.
Yep, true. I would agree with that assessment. And before we go any further, for anybody who's watching this, if you have not yet seen the Star Wars 8, The Last Jedi, stop watching now, because we're going to get like super spoilery, and we don't care if your feelings are hurt about spoilers and stuff like that. This is a movie review, so we're going to be breaking it down, and there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, now is the time to stop.
It's been about a month. Get out there. Get out there and go see it. It's been long enough.
So, all right. Joel, what are your plot thoughts?
Okay, agreeing with Tim. I like that it's you're continuing the story. So far, it's definitely been a better trilogy than episodes 1 through 3, which were good intentions, kind of misguided story-wise. I think that where this one kind of differs from both of the previous trilogies is that this kind of plays into a more modern trend that we're seeing in storytelling with kind of like this hero deconstruction. And we saw that a lot, and kind of like we had our pre-conversation before we got started. Tim was mentioned about the original trilogy was more about good versus evil, and this one kind of plays more into we're fighting somewhere in the middle, the gray that's in between good and evil. And I know a lot of people's issues were with how Luke was kind of betrayed. I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed it. I think that he fulfilled his destiny in the original trilogy, and this is kind of afterwards. You got to remember, this is a new start. You got new heroes. Every new story needs new heroes.
Yeah, I feel that. And so how I felt about it, and from a plot, like I felt like Luke was the kind of mentor that I would want. Not necessarily. I don't know about the whole. I don't know how I felt necessarily about that, because a lot of people felt that this Luke Skywalker was a better Luke Skywalker because you got to see his moral failings, because you got to see his cracks and stuff like that. I'm not about that life. I don't feel comforted by seeing people who are messed up. Like that kind of stuff doesn't make me feel like a more human. Doesn't make me feel more human being, and doesn't make me feel better about myself because I get to see the grit and flaws in other people. I know we're messed up. My brother works in mental health. He knows people are messed up. Seeing someone do something crazy doesn't make me feel better about myself as a human being or anything like that. That's ridiculous. But I did really, I enjoyed Luke's, like how sarcastic he was and how he was just really kind of codgery. The scene where he was milking that sea creature or whatever, and the green milk, that didn't bother me at all. Like,
yeah, can we leave that scene alone? Can we put that in the rest of this podcast? It was not that big. It was gross. I was surprised by it, but it wasn't a big deal.
It really wasn't. It was just like whatever,
people
man.
People were upset by that.
Yeah, people were really offended by that. I'm like, why? I thought it was dope. Like when he killed the fish with that pole, I said, so this dude doing all kind of wild. Like he's become Yoda. Like he's become a grumpier Yoda. Dope. I also with the plot, I can see that it was really kind of a wrestle, especially on post, to try to figure out what to do with Leia's character because Carrie Fisher died after they finished their filming and everything like that. So they had to make the decision: are we going to leave everything that we put in there, in there, especially like that whole scene, when she got sucked out into space? Are we going to leave that in there? Are we going to edit it? Or are we going to mess with it anyway? Because obviously that has implications for the remainder of the trilogy when Star Wars 9 comes out. In 2019, but I thought they handled it well. I respect Ryan's decision to leave everything that they filmed in there. JJ's got a lot of heavy lifting to do with that. The thing that I thought that was, besides Luke, because Luke was a real strong piece, and I don't really, Rey, I like that she's coming into her own, but I still feel like she can be turned to the dark side at this point, especially how she was messing with the sort of dark side hole that's there on Octu, going down there. I still feel like she's questionable. More questionable than Kylo Ren to me. I feel like he can still be turned to the light, maybe. And then the whole, I don't know, the whole killing Snoke thing. Like, I feel like Snoke I feel like he still might rise again. He might not. Who knows? He's not confirmed dead on any of the wikis out there, but Luke is. So I was like, whew.
Right now, I think that's a red herring. I think he's gone.
You think he's gone?
Yeah, because like things that people were getting upset about. I don't know. Maybe go back and watch the original trilogy. Like people were upset about. Oh well, I have no idea who Snoke is. They didn't give any background. When you saw Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Palpatine was just some dude. He shows up in the middle of Empire and then just kind of dies at the end of Return of the Jedi.
That's true.
We had no idea who he was until books started coming out.
It was only the expanded universe and the games that really gave you perspective.
And they did the original trilogy, and then they gave him some background. But then he was just some evil old dude that got thrown down a hole.
Pretty much. So yeah, that's true. So in context, he was just some dude. You know what I'm saying? But then in the larger non-canonical world, he's a legend. And so
that's like people's complaints with Phasma. Phasma's like Boba Fett, who I can't understand why he's so popular. Boba Fett just shows up and then he dies. That's Return of the Jedi.
True.
Well, I'm with Joel on this. I think what happened, the scene with Snoke is Kylo Ren's complete becoming a Sith Lord, because in the lore, Sith Padawan has to kill his master in order to become the Lord.
He's like one of the few dudes to fulfill his destiny with that.
Actually, yes, because like
at least on film.
At least on film.
At least on film, you're right. Because like Vader didn't become a Sith Lord by killing his master.
It was very disappointing.
Yeah, so it's interesting. So he became a Sith Lord by killing all the Jedi.
It was for me, it was one of the worst scenes in the entire series.
Oh, killing babies?
No, just him becoming a Sith Lord. Oh, it was like, oh, that was lazy.
Rise, Darth Vader. Yeah, well, it was a little bit. I think plot-wise, I feel like they really tried to take Finn to the next level and then introducing that sort of like love triangle between him, like this kind of faint love triangle between him, Rey, and Rose. And I don't, you know,
it was clumsy.
You felt like it was clumsy.
It was clumsy.
I felt like it would have been less clumsy if they had executed Canto Bight differently. Because like if you followed all the press releases and the Vanity Fair covers and everything like that, they were making
the Canto Bight thing wasn't as cool as it sounded before I watched the movie.
Yeah, like before the like all the promotion and stuff that they were doing for the movie, they were really like upping Canto Bight. Like it was going to be like, oh, they're gonna like they were showing all the outfits and everything and making it seem like Leia was going to be at Canto Bight. Like they were, you know, like it was going to be the whole group going on a secret mission. Like they really made it seem like one thing in the previews and the promotion, and then, but because Canto Bight was lame, the buildup of the love triangle, as it were, was kind of anticlimactic. I feel like Canto Bight helped.
It really, I didn't even think of it as a love triangle till like, you know, that end scene, and then Rey kind of like, oh, well, what's going on over there? It's like, do we need that shot? I don't know. It's clumsy.
You felt that. I felt like the clumsiness was just in the buildup.
And there was kind of like a thing with Rey and Poe at the end too. It's like, hey, I'm Rey. Oh, I know who you are. It's like, oh, what's going on there?
Oh man,
this is out of nowhere.
Yeah, I had no problems with Phasma. I've enjoyed Phasma as is. She survived she survived the trash compacting and the explosion of a planet. Who's to say she's not going to survive the destruction of a Star Destroyer? Let's just be real about that. Like, and then
the only thing I really don't appreciate about Phasma is she just appears and then disappears and just like, she only has one scene. You know, I want to see some more badassery out of her.
Fair enough. Yeah. Especially since her lore in the books is significant. Like she should do that in movies.
But probably the most wasted character in this movie is Poe. Once again.
You don't think he lived up to it? He did okay in Star Wars 7. He did all right.
For him to be just the way that they put him in the billing, you would
like to be the new Han Solo.
Right, he's not. Because they don't give him, and that's not that's not the character's fault. I feel they haven't given Poe enough to do. You know, he had a cool intro, great pilot. Then he just kind of mutinies and gets put in space jail.
But is that Ryan's fault though? Because I feel like JJ did the serve. You know what I'm saying? Like he did this. He tossed the ball up. So it was up to Ryan to spike. But Ryan chose to really hone in, to spend a lot of time on Luke and spend a lot of time on Rey and Kylo.
Just the same, you know, you've got a lot of the leadership with the rebellion and stuff like that. So maybe this kind of opens it up for Poe to have a more significant role in the next movie.
He certainly is not going to be the braggadocious Han Solo at all. I feel like the Han Solo role is split between Poe and Finn. If that makes sense. I feel like the two of them are the Han Solo of this thing.
Or it doesn't have to be a Han Solo type at all.
This is true. New trilogy, new heroes.
I think it's just a braggadocious pilot, but I think in this movie, his story arc is him being humbled and like realizing that, you know, failures cost, and they have big repercussions. And I think that was one of his big learning points, which probably sets him up for a different kind of character in the next movie.
This may make him a great leader in the next movie. Also, the Rebels have horrible communications. It is amazing that they survived as long as they did. Because, like, a lot of that could have been prevented from just, like, talk to each other.
Exactly.
They could have been out of there. So
well, it's clear they're not like the rebellion, which was the rebellion was actually very well organized, and it was actually a collection of planets and stuff like that together in order to sort of make it happen. So it's very clear this is not like the Rebel Alliance from the first two trilogies,
right?
At all. This is a ragtag group. And any of their backing, and the majority of their backing was destroyed as well in Star Wars 7.
Yeah, exactly. Starkiller Base shot out 5 planets all at once, so that was a big hit for them.
Awesome.
They still weren't terribly great at communicating before that happened, but they did. No. They certainly were hurt by that.
They were real bad.
Either of you can sort of refuse to answer this particular question right now because it might slide into favorite moment, it might not. So you can choose to abstain. But was I the only one whose heart got sucked out of his chest the first time seeing Leia get sucked out into space? Like just in that moment, not talking about her force pulling herself back in, just like when the blast hit, vacuum. I mean, Admiral Akbar.
Yeah,
he's a G.
Like, Lord Jesus, they got
he did not deserve to die like that. Admiral Akbar got sucked into the vacuum of space. Like,
no, my first thought was, oh, this is how they're gonna kill her off.
That's what I thought. It's like, oh, that's okay.
But then no. I'm like, wait a minute, Akbar was in that thing too.
Oh, but the force fight, that was awesome.
Really, that I found that's the second most divisive scene in the whole film. And I've listened
to a lot of mixed reactions to that. But
people really hated that.
It's like it's force fight, man. That's cool.
For me, yeah, it's like for me, it was finally Leia gets to use her force powers.
I'm glad that we're finally seeing force powers from the expanded universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's been great.
And even though they were dormant, I think Ryan talked about this, that her force powers were more an instinctual response and survival instincts. But it was great to see that she's truly a Skywalker, and this isn't like Luke isn't the only one that has all this power.
True. Although I feel like I feel like we've had 30 years to like for his power to grow in our imaginations in terms of what he actually did. But actually going back and watching the original trilogies, the most impressive like actual force stuff that he did really was like lifting rocks during training with Yoda. Yeah.
That's all most of them did was lift rocks. People get so bent out of shape. It's like, look, they've just been lifting stuff from us, like Anakin. The biggest mistake for me with the episodes 1 through 3 was them trying to make Anakin the chosen one. Because he was a regular dude for all 3 of those movies. A regular angry guy. He did nothing that was overly impressive to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Like even in Genndy Tartakovsky's animated shorts, The Clone Wars, even he still wasn't even that impressive.
Mace Windu had the best episode of that.
Yeah, that's true. Mace Windu was nuts. Blowing away tanks and stuff. Whew. Well, I think we've talked about plot thoughts. Let's move on to our next segment, which will be kind of a rapid fire. Top 5 characters. Joel, you start this time.
Top 5 characters. I enjoyed Luke in this movie. I enjoyed the way they portrayed him. Okay, I like the Codebreaker guy. I wish they had done more with him, but I wanted to see more of the Codebreaker dude. I liked Finn in this. You got Leia, and then Kylo Ren. I mean, that fire just down. Is that 1, 2, 3, 4?
That's 5.
Okay.
Tim, top 5.
Top 5 for me, I think Rey. Now that I've thought about it, I think she kicks butt, and she just has this raw power, and I think that it's working well. Second is DJ, that Codebreaker guy. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the Lando Calrissian. I think we'll get to see a lot more of him, and his story.
I really hope so.
Yeah, there's something about him that really caught my attention, and I was like, I want to see more of this guy. Third is Paige, Rose's sister, at the beginning of the movie. She just did not give up. I really like Poe's just the way his braggadocious personality, the way he trolled Hux at the beginning, and
That
you
was
could
great.
and
Great
the way he just you could tell like on even his facial expressions that he was learning. And I really like Chewbacca in this film.
Chewie needed some shine time.
He still can make friends, and I think he's a lot less angry and a lot less what do you call it, snarky. And I think he's just like I'm getting older. I'm just trying to finally help these guys.
Yeah, he's more cut and paste right now, so he's off on to business.
Was that all 5?
Yeah, that was 5.
Oh, word. So let's see. For me, Luke was definitely my favorite character. Like I really had no problems at all with how Ryan handled it. I don't know what anybody thought Luke was gonna do, except what he did. Like after I saw it, whatever I had in my mind that I thought it was gonna do went to the wayside. Like the moment he took that lightsaber when she handed it to him and he tossed it. I was like, oh, this is my dude right here. Like I had to. I was like, oh, yeah. I was sold after that. I gotta shout out to General Hux. General Hux is the longest living under a Sith Lord commander ever. Like to have been force choked, to have been force slammed multiple times.
There were so many times I thought he was gonna die in that movie.
Shout out to General Hux. And he's been putting up with this mess, and yet he's lived. Like he really is he's actually survived 2 Sith Lords, and there's no general of any evil empire yet who's managed to do that. So he's a champion. I really enjoyed. I actually enjoyed Leia. I think that she did a really. I think that Carrie did a good job with her in 7 and did a good job with her in this one. I did enjoy Rey as well. Rey was pretty good, and then if I had to, I guess for number 5, I guess Kylo. Kylo did really good. I feel like he's really sort of coming into his own. I'm still hoping that Snoke's death is not a red herring. I'm holding out for hope on that. I'm hoping he'll be the first like evil on-screen, evil dark side Force ghost.
Marco Ragnos.
Yeah, I'm hoping it'll be like that because I mean he had that. Andy Serkis just went crazy, and like Andy Serkis, he just does what he does as an actor. So like I really enjoyed Snoke. Bottom 5, Tim.
So just a disclaimer, it's not the actor's acting ability, just the way I felt about the character is how I decided my bottom 5, because really I think all the actors did an excellent job of personifying their characters. I think number 1, the most I had discussed for was Snoke. He's just like a no-nonsense, and like the way he just flicked his wrist and shot Kylo Ren with the lightning bolts, I just had a disgust for him. Like I don't know, he's just like, it's all about me. Like even Palpatine, he was like, I'm gonna prepare, I need a new Padawan, I need somebody stronger. He cared a lot about what the Force was doing, I think. Even though it's the dark side, Snoke is just, no, this is my world now. Forget the Force, forget, the Empire. I just want to do what I want to do. I think number 2 for me is Holdo. I just did not. She just made me feel like this is a rebellion. This isn't the Empire. You don't have to be so by the book all the time.
Them poor communication skills.
That's right, and I think she's the embodiment of that. And then she's like, she does whatever she wants, but then it's like, no, I'm not going to tell anybody anything. Luke made me feel cringy just when his interaction with Rey. Yeah. So he's in my lower half of the characters. I really did not like the snitch, the goody two shoes on at the casino.
Yeah.
Snitched Finn and Rose out.
Yeah.
I dealt with a lot of neighbors like that. Oh, I'm just gonna do the right thing, and it's,
Right.
so I just have a bad feeling for people who are like so by the law that yeah, whatever. And I felt Rose was really forced, just
Yes.
because of what she embodied as a character. Uh, it was felt very contrived and more as like a to please a lot of the SJW kind of fervor, and they could have found a better role. I mean, the better way to introduce her and have her play, but she's like this kind of social conscience, you could say, in the movie, just with her, a quick little death speech she gave Finn right before she quote unquote passed out. So that was like it just felt fake.
It's like I said, like at the end, it was clumsy the way they put that together at the end for me. And even more so after I saw it a second time, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, it was all right, whatever.
So that was my 5.
Joel, your bottom 5.
Okay, Holdo's at my top.
At the top of your bottom?
Right, and it was the communication thing. It's like, why would you not tell him that was Leia's plan to just go ahead and fuel up the shuttles and scuttle everybody out? Also, why did it take you so long to turn the ship around and then go light speed into the Star Destroyer? Snoke, not because we don't know a lot about Snoke, just because I don't know that I never really was crazy about the character, even in Episode 7. I don't think I was super curious about it either. It's like, oh, here's some evil overlord. Okay. I'm like, all right, he's just kind of in there. Rose also, and I feel the same way. I feel like she kind of just got thrown in there, and they could have done so much more with the character. And then they just kind of had like the clumsy, almost throwaway love triangle stuff at the end. It's like, I don't know. It felt unnecessary at the end. I feel like I didn't get that overall vibe most of the movie. All right, I'm gonna say I was a little disappointed with Rey and her development in this. I thought about it more after seeing it the second time. Just like the ridiculous raw power that she has bugs me somewhat. I'm curious, and I look forward to see how they're going to shape that in Episode 9. How she tempers in, how she's looking after she's trained and honed herself psychologically later on. Poe is back up there with me. Wasted opportunity, I feel, too. Awesome intro and stuff like that, but then he got thrown into the whole poor communications thing, too. So, and then, then a mutiny happened. I don't know if I have enough for 5. I like most of the characters in there.
I feel that way, too, about Holdo. Man, like, she lived and she died. Yeah. I feel like they tried to develop Finn, but the execution was a little lacking.
Like Poe, they could have done more.
Yeah. I know I had Rey in my top, but I've also had her in my bottom because I just don't like her character that much. I haven't yet. And her great power just bothers me also because she's angry. Like me and Tim had a conversation about this a couple weeks even before we filmed this episode. With Rey, I know that Luke was not nice to her. I know he was being kind of a jerk. He was being kind of a dick. I get that.
Her reaction seemed blown up.
Yeah, like I get like when he blew the HUD apart and everything like that. I get that she wanted an answer and everything, but then she pulled a lightsaber on him. That's a deadly weapon. That's like someone pulling a gun on someone because they don't like the answer that they gave him. It's like, you're gonna tell me, like, and then pull the hammer out and tell me something. No, you're going to tell me. Like, oh, hold on there, Pop-Tart. What's going on here? You ain't got to resort to deadly force for this. You crazy? Like I,
Yeah,
so,
the interesting thing with Rey, though, that like her level of anger frustrated me about the character, but it's also one of the things, especially with the stuff that they revealed in the throne room scene, one of the things that makes Rey very interesting to me.
Can you elaborate on that?
Like, there's the throne room scene in the bit where Kylo Ren's like, "You're nobody.
Yes.
Your parents were drunks. They left you here. You come from nothing."
Which was delicious.
I thought that was one of the best things they could have done for her character.
That was the best thing I think Ryan did in the whole movie.
Right. Everybody doesn't have to be related to anybody. It's an entire universe. There's billions upon billions of people on every planet. Come on.
So moving to that, this is quick. Favorite moment. Does anybody have a favorite moment in the whole film? Like the moment that you just, I'm just gonna say mine. Mine was Leia getting sucked out of the ship and then pulling herself back in. Like my heart went out my chest. I felt something in that moment. That was my moment. I enjoyed that.
I really liked Holdo's scene, like where she just breaks through the.
Yes. That moment. Do you realize that moment got nominated for an Oscar for cinematography? Yeah. So like that, everybody thought that moment was incredible.
It's kind of crazy that it was all CG and it's like cinematography within the universe. But the second favorite, I think, another favorite moment is just Chewbacca and Rey coming down onto the planet and just kicking butt. That was a good moment for me.
I am torn between. I mean, it was. I had my top three. The throne room scene, the throne room fight was awesome, but I was torn between Holdo's scene, where she turned and hit light speed and the Star Destroyer, and then the force projection battle meditation scene at the end. That scene, I got up and cheered.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a really close second for me because then he went back down his usual, like the sort of rant that he did with Rey. I was like, everything you just said was completely wrong. Like it was wonderful.
Well, and it was kind of like the ultimate one up. You know, it's like, I'm back. I got one more lecture for you, but I'm gone, so you can't get revenge. No take backs.
So, scale of 1 to 10, overall grade of the movie, Tim.
It's about a 7 for me. It just doesn't hit some of the spots. For example, like compared to an epic film like The Return of the King, The Lord of the Rings, but it's definitely pretty high up there for me. So about a 7 out of 10.
I gave it really, really close to an 8, but I think it came out like a 7.85, something like that. I actually got like a numeric chart out and got into Excel and everything like that but it
calculate.
but it wasn't quite an 8, so I'm like a 7.8 and everything like that. So so 7.8. Joel?
It was a solid 7.5. I couldn't bring it up to an 8. I liked the movie for sure. And I had to weigh all the things that bugged me about it and the things that could have been better. Like they could have used the code cracker better. I felt like Poe once again kind of wasted opportunity in this movie. But it had some good character development. That was the strongest bit for me.
So what was your overall number?
7.5.
7.5. All right. So I guess we're all sort of in that same realm. Like it wasn't a B, but it was a good C.
It's a strong C.
It was a strong C. All right. So here's an even better question then. In the context of the whole cinematic universe for Star Wars, where do you rank this with the other 8 movies?
I think it's my favorite one out of all the Star Wars movies. Just because it's the embodiment of what captured my imagination for like watching the first Star Wars, just the different planets and creatures and spaceships and space wizards and like dogfights and giant walking mechs. So for me, it's like you had all that turned up to 11 with the nice CG and just beautiful visuals.
Ryan did a good camera work. Joel, where does it rank for you in all of them?
It ranks above Return of the Jedi for me.
Really? That's nonsense to me, but I hear you. Like, so if I had to rank it, it's my so Empire Strikes Back. Return of the Jedi used to be my all-time favorite, but I've gone back and watched, especially thanks to my son, because sometimes he just sticks them in the morning without me. Empire Strikes Back is my all-time. It's number 1. Return of the Jedi is number 2. A New Hope is number 3. Force Awakens, number 7, is next up, and then finally, right dead middle for me is The Last Jedi, and then 3, 2, 1 for the other ones. So the other ones, if I didn't have to add them in, I wouldn't. But so 8, I surprisingly ranked a little low. Like I really enjoyed The Force Awakens much more, but Empire Strikes Back to me is it's just the best movie. Like like the way that it was scripted, the attitude, the diversity of the cast at the time. Even though this is a really modern, diverse cast, like the Lucas not being not being the head director in Empire Strikes Back was a good decision. It allowed him to do what he does best with the vision of it in the background, and to really do a good job executive producing while letting someone else control the actor pacing and the shots much better. So that's my opinion, my unqualified opinion. So then we've come to this point in the podcast now that we're calling in season 2. We're introducing it here in season 2. It's called the shouting moment. So anyone who knows anything about Black church, when the pastor gets to sweating really good, and he's getting in the word and everything like that, he's saying something that it is, evoking an amen on the inside of you, a good amen or something like that. The organ starts going off. That's your shouting moment right there. That's when you can feel afraid to praise the Lord right there. So for our shouting moment this time, we're going to do Star Wars Episode 9 predictions. Make it brief. Joel, shouting moment.
Luke Force Ghost. There we go. Spoiler alert. Luke Force Ghost. I'm calling it.
What is your shouting moment on this, Tim, for the Star Wars 9 predictions?
I'd love to see Luke's Force Ghost, but I'm gonna say Hux is gonna he's gonna turn on Kylo Ren.
I totally agree with that after that throne room.
But is he gonna die doing it?
We don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll see in 2 years.
Yep.
All right, so I guess let's see. For my Star Wars 9 prediction, I definitely think, Luke Force Ghost. I'm gonna go out there on the red herring, a Snoke Force Ghost. And then Rey turning to the dark side or having another temptation moment. I don't think she's settled. I feel like if you guys think that that Kylo's settled, so if Kylo settled, I don't think Rey is, if that makes sense. I feel like she still has. I didn't feel like she had her moment in the way that he potentially had his moment with Snoke. Does that make sense? So yeah, that's my prediction on that.
J.J. Abrams, if you happen to be watching this, it's okay if you want to put in an Obi-Wan Force Ghost. I'm all right if it's Ewan McGregor and it's not Alec Guinness. I'm cool with that.
Well, good people, thank you so much. And to my esteemed panel, Joel and Tim, I appreciate you guys checking in so we can discuss this very important topic. Definitely feel free. Hey, check down in the description. Everything about us social media wise can be subscribed to down there. Do it. Subscribe to this. Make sure you like, review. Make sure you leave comments or don't leave comments. Good comments, bad comments, doesn't matter. Hit the little bell so you can be notified when new episodes are coming out. We have new episodes coming out every Wednesday. And again, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in next week. Grace and peace, you guys. See you later.